Our fun continues here with our special guests from Elam. We decided to let them do not just the worship time, but the sermon time as well. And what they're going to do is kind of a tag team thing, I would call it, where you'll hear from several different members of the team, and there's got to be something in there that you can take home that's going to be a blessing to you. So I'm going to hand it over to Ian, and he'll take it from there.
Hi, everybody. Like he said, my name's Ian. Many of you probably know me from being his son, but if you don't, that's my name, and I'm from Elam Bible College. What we do and what we try to do is raise up Christ-centered, Spirit-empowered servant leaders for global ministry and worldwide revival. That's our mission statement, and that's baked into everything that we do. We have programs in both business and ministry, and we even have a vocational trade-focused certificate that we're doing with construction right now, which is a cool thing. But all of that, the purpose of it is to bring up young people who are solid in their faith, no matter what they're doing. You know, a lot of people don't really plan on going into ministry as like, oh, that's what I'm going to do for my job and make money somehow. Because let's be honest, if you're in it for the money, you're in the wrong thing. But it's not necessarily just about being a pastor or a missionary or something as a job, though a lot of people come through Elam and have done that. All three of the pastors of this church were Elam graduates, so there's a testimony there. But the point of it is we are all ministers of the gospel. We are all in like full-time ministry wherever we go. And I want to encourage you with that this morning. Whether you're like a young person looking to go to college or not, this is a call that we all have on our lives. Our calling is not necessarily the same as our job, our occupation, or our assignment, or whatever you want to call it. Our calling is to follow the Lord and to do what he wants us to do and to encourage and love those around us, to go and make disciples of all nations. That wasn't just to those 12 guys, the apostles, and it wasn't just to people who are pastors or missionaries. That is Jesus' commission to all of us. So I want to encourage you with that this morning. But that's what we do at Elam. If you are somebody who's looking to potentially attend college in a year or a few years or right away, we have a table out back. You can come and talk to us. We have 1-year programs that are very easy to commit to and you know, as a starting point, and maybe you go on to something else. We've had a lot of people come for 1 year, get a really good spiritual foundation, and then launch out into another field or go to another school or whatever. And then you have people like me who came for 1 year and decided to then stay for the full 4 years, bachelor degree in theology, which is a good thing as well. So I won't bore you with the details of it, but we'll be out there to talk about it. And it's a really powerful thing. God really has used Elam to grip my heart and my life and make me make my faith my own and not just as a pastor's kid or as a kid who grew up going to church. It was a real step of faith for me to be like, you know what, I'm going to actually devote my life to God. I'm actually going to give him my time and my energy and my focus. And there are other ways you can do that, but Elam is a really great way and a really great place to put in everything that you have to God and receive the blessing that he has for you in return, to be built up, to be equipped, and to grow into a minister of the gospel, whether that's in a pastoral setting, in a construction site, in a business, in a nonprofit, whatever. So that's the point of the school, but the point of why we're here is just to bless you guys and show you the good things that God is doing through Elam and just be a part of the collective body of Christ. That's not just, you know, in this building. It's not just in this service. There's another one after this, I've heard. But it's the global body of Christ. We are all connected, and we want to build that connection and share the good news with one another. So I'm going to call up our good friend, Hannah Camiolo, who you might also know. Yeah, give it up. And she's going to be the first of our 3 students who are going to share some really powerful testimony and some good stuff for you this morning, all right?
So hi, my name's Hannah. If you don't know me, I've gone to this church for over a decade, and my family just recently moved away to Elam full-time because my mom just started there. But I want to tell you guys about kind of something that happened this past summer. I had this really cool opportunity where I was actually asked to be a director at a summer camp that I've going to. Camp Judah, I'm sure there's some people here who have heard of it, who have been to it. Who here knows of Camp Judah, has been to Camp Judah, has helped with Camp Judah? Oh yeah, people all over. And so it was this really cool opportunity that honestly, I was like, little me, if she could see that I got to do this, would be so excited. Like, I get to be the director, the person that's like the behind the scenes, just figuring all the stuff out, all the little details. And there's one specific moment from camp that just really stuck out to me, and I just want to share with you guys. It was after everybody went to bed, or everybody was supposed to go to bed. If you've been to camp, you know people never sleep. And all of us directors were together, and there were 3 of us that were new directors. And one of the other new directors, she was asking one of like the OG directors who'd been there forever, why did you pick me? Why me? Why was I chosen to be a director? And so then he told her, and he was like, well, I saw the way that you led these games so well. I saw the way that you did this so well. And he was just talking about how he saw this leadership in her. And then he turned to me, and he was like, do you want to know the moment that I knew I wanted to involve you more? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I've served as a counselor for years. Surely he's going to talk about how, like, I did such an amazing job as a counselor, how I was this great leader, and he could just see that I had this leadership in me. But no, he turned to me and he told me the moment that I knew I wanted to involve you more was when you came, you served at my youth group, and you just kept asking, how can I help? There wasn't anything special or significant about what I did. I ran slides, I helped set up chairs, but it was just my heart. I just kept asking, how can I help? Because I was being faithful in the little things. And how often do we go to God and we do this good thing, this big thing, and we're like, God, did you see that? Did you see that? You can trust me, I did that great thing. And then we turn around and we talk back and we give people an attitude and we're not faithful in those little things. Because God is looking for people who are faithful in the everyday, who are faithful in the mundane. Because it's easy to be a Christian on Sunday. It's easy to live out that faith on Sunday. But what about when Monday comes? What about when your job is coming and just people are frustrating you and your coworker will not leave you alone, or your family keeps bugging you about something? Are you being faithful in the little things as well? And so I want to read the Bible. I'm sure this doesn't come as a surprise, but the Bible talks about this a lot. And there are several times throughout the New Testament, but the one that I specifically want to look at and read is Luke 16, verses 10 through 13. And in this comes right after the parable of the dishonest manager, of someone who wasn't really being faithful in the little things. And so Luke 16, verses 10 through 13 says, one who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much. And one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much. If then you have not been faithful in the unrighteous wealth, who will entrust to you the true riches? And if you have not been faithful in that which is another, who will give you that which is your own? No servant can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. One who is faithful in very little. In those little moments, are you faithful? Are you showing up in the mundane? And this word for faithful here is pistos, and it portrays this concept of steadfast reliability. Like a solid rock that's dependable, that firm foundation, that if you jump on it, if you stand on it, it's not going to shake because it is proven, its faithfulness, it is steadfast. And so I just want to ask you and challenge you guys, what are the little things in your life? What are the little moments that you just feel that conviction, like, I haven't been faithful in this? For me personally, it's been my job. I work as a waitress at Olive Garden, and let me tell you, sometimes people drive you crazy. And whether it's another employee or whether it's someone that I'm serving, it's so easy to just get into this complaining mindset and this complaining mentality. But God just keeps reminding me to have grace, to show my faithfulness, to show who I am in those little moments, even when someone just keeps asking for refills and I've run to the kitchen 75 times. And we see this all throughout the Bible, these people that were entrusted with big things. And yet before they were entrusted with big things, they proved their faithfulness in the little things. And even through that time that they were trusted with big things, they were faithful through the little things. Like David. We read about David. He was this king. He led Israel so well. And yet before he was king, he was a shepherd. And before he was leading the Israelites, he was leading dirty, slow sheep. And yet through that, he showed up, and he was faithful day after day, and God taught him and God trained him through that. Or even Daniel. We read about Daniel in the book of Daniel, and he was like one of the highest officials in the kingdom of Babylon. And yet he was faithful in the little things. He prayed day after day after day. Even when King Nebuchadnezzar came and said, no one must pray, he still showed up, he still prayed, he still remained faithful in the little things. And so this is something that God has just been teaching me and training me even as I've been at Elam. Because one of the things that is so cool about Elam is every aspect of it is a training ground. Because we go to classes day after day, and we get this Bible knowledge in our head. And then we go out and we have practical ministry where we are serving. But in the day-to-day of doing homework, of just living in a dorm, God teaches that faithfulness in the little things. Which God does that everywhere, but Elam is really cool from what I've seen because that growth is expedited. You are so saturated in the word, you are so saturated in just godly Christian fellowship that God just tends to fast track that growth. And I can attest to that. Let me tell you, I came into Elam and heard all these stories of people who were like, oh yeah, I came into Elam and I didn't really want to be here, and then God changed me and I'm so different now. And I was like, coming into Elam, I was like, I'm a Christian. Like Ian said, lots of people don't go to Elam because they know they want to be in ministry, but God calls them along the way. I knew I wanted to be in ministry. All my life, I've been like running after the Lord. So I had this pride in me of like, I'll grow a little bit, but like, I'm already pretty much there, you know? Let me tell you, I was very wrong. And I have seen time after time, everybody that comes in with that mentality quickly learns that is not the case. Because it is a place that God shapes and grows your character. So I truly want to encourage you, regardless of whether you are considering Elam, whether you maybe never even heard of Elam, come to the back afterwards, come talk to us, come hear the stories of God's faithfulness in our lives. And if you're here and this is piquing your interest and you just feel that pull of the Lord towards this place, I want to really encourage you guys. We have this thing called Discovery Days, and it's basically like a 2-3 day event where you come and you are in Elam. You are Elam. So feel free to come check that out. And once again, I just want to remind you guys of Luke 16, verse 10. One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much. And one who is dishonest in very little is also dishonest in much. And I know we're here talking about Elam, but in the everyday life, in the everyday moments, are you walking in that faithfulness? Thank you. Next, we're going to have Makai Taylor come on up and share.
Hello. My name is Makai. I guess as I was thinking about what to share, and the only thing that kept coming to my mind was just to share my testimony. So to give you background, my name is Makai Taylor. I'm 21. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah. But yeah, just growing up and I wasn't a believer and I wasn't a Christian, and I didn't live in a Christian household. The only Christians in my family were my mom, my grandparents, and like 3 or 4 of my aunts. So just growing up, I grew in a society where the most important things was money, drugs, sex, gang violence, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. And that being everything I was surrounded by is what I started to do, just to feel accepted. So as a kid, I struggled with a lot of anger issues, and I would get into fights a lot. I would steal things just to get money. I would do everything that I could just to feel accepted from my family, from the people around me. And just as a result of me doing that, I slowly just kept losing my my childhood and like everything. I grew up very fast just as a result of everything I've seen and done. So just in my search for that, to feel accepted and do all these things, it just continued to just make me also just numb just to a lot of things. And when I started to feel numb and not just a bunch of other stuff, I started to try things to make me feel something. And one of those things was smoking. One of those things was drinking, because it's what my friends did, it's what my family did, and I just wanted to feel accepted. So I went out, I tried those things, but from the encouragement of my grandparents and my mom, I ended up stopping. And also just from seeing what it done to the people around me. So I stopped from doing that, and then I turned to just messing with women and trying to, get, monetary pleasure just from feeling those things and doing that stuff. And it just continued to just make me feel less and less and less. And I tried to go into church with my mom. I tried going to youth group, and I would act a certain way at youth group and act a certain way at church. And then as soon as I left there, I would just go back to doing the same old things where I was messing around with women and doing all that stuff just to feel accepted. And it just felt like I lived a double life. Like I never felt true to myself. I never felt like I belonged anywhere, because I was just doing things just to make people feel happy and to be viewed as tough and cool. And it really just made me continue to feel numb. And just as a man and where I was from, I wasn't allowed to feel emotions. That's what we get taught, We can't feel, we can't cry, we can't be happy. The only acceptable emotion is anger. So I would just continue to get more angry, and I would keep internalizing it because I couldn't go to anybody to talk to. And I felt that I couldn't go to anybody to talk to, and I felt that if I do these things, I'll just be viewed as weak, and that's not something I wanted to do. And my grandparents, they tried to help me and to encourage me to tell me about Jesus, but I wasn't really hearing it because I was so far in the world that I did not care about Jesus or anything that they were saying. I would just listen to them, but never apply it to my life. And that pretty much happened throughout my entire teenage year. Well, not teenage, the time of my kid and then some of my teenage years. But then when I was a senior in high school, I found out that my grandfather had stage 4 lung cancer, stage 4 brain cancer. And I was trying to just deal with that, and also just from struggling from feeling numb to things. Like I felt like I couldn't care, even though I loved him with all my heart. But just as he was like losing himself, the only thing that he never lost was his love for Jesus. Since he had his brain cancer, he was forgetting family, he was forgetting his friends, he even forgot me, he forgot I was his grandson for a little bit, but just he would always talk about Jesus and always talk about Jesus. And a crazy thing was that while he was in hospice and just, I guess on his deathbed, he would always try to get the family together just to pray. And the doctors would come in and to go care on him. And he kept, every doctor that came in and tried to care for him, the doctors would be the one that be cared for, and they would leave out crying just from how much he just impacted their lives. And it was really cool. But, just as I was watching that and as I was preparing myself for his death, the person that actually ended up dying first was my grandmother. And it was a really crazy story. I won't get too much into it, but pretty much I woke up one day and, I seen him. My grandmother was out doing ministry, then we went home together. They ate, and then I went upstairs and I said my goodbyes to him. And an hour or so later, I heard many knocks on my door. I run out, and it was my aunt and my sister, and they was just looking at me, and there was tears in their eyes, and they was like, Nana's on the ground, she's not breathing. And because I had some background in nursing and stuff, they went to me first, so I ran down there, and by the time that I got downstairs in my living room, she was already passed away. And that just made me spiral even to more into numbness, where it genuinely the only, I felt nothing. I didn't really care about my family anymore. I didn't care about my friends. I didn't care about life. I didn't care about God. I was just very far down to not feeling things, to even at both of their, what is it called? Can't find the word. At both of their funerals, I cried no tears. I was just very straight-faced, and it was a very rough time for me. But the craziest thing is, through all that just time where I felt just straight darkness and nothing, the Lord was there. And it's something that I didn't realize, but as I was going through these things, and as I seen both my grandparents, the day before they had died, they were serving the Lord. And I guess I wasn't thinking about it, but the Lord was just helping me to see things more differently. And he was preparing my heart to say yes to him and just to help me. And a few months later, as I was in the summer, I was at my friend's graduations party, and them two were going to Elam. I had another friend there who just came back from Elam, and we were just all talking, and I was standing and I was listening to them, and my friend just looked at me, and she was like, "Makai, what do you plan on doing?" And I was like, "I plan on going to this college that I wanted to go to my whole life. I had a full-ride scholarship in nursing and sports medicine, and I was going to use that to go to that college." And all she said, she was just like, "You should come to Elam." And I've never heard about Elam in my life. I literally asked her, I was like, "What is an Elam? What is this?" And she was like, "You should come to Elam." And I just felt something in my heart that just said, "Go." The only thing I heard was "go." I felt like I got punched in my gut, and all I heard was "go." So I was like, "Okay." And I just said yes. And it was the last day to sign up. And I ended up getting accepted the very next day, and then I was going to go to Elam. I've never been there before either. And it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. Because while being at Elam, I knew some about God, but I wouldn't say that I was a full believer. And just spending the first few weeks there, I felt very out of place. I felt very, in some ways, lonely, because I didn't know anything. I would see people getting up and worshiping, and I was just very confused and why are they doing this? And, why is God so important to them? And it was a very confusing time for me. But then there was a weekend called Foundations Weekend, where they pretty much do worship and they give words and stuff. And it was a Saturday, I believe. And they had called us to the altar, and it was about breaking bondages and stuff. So I went up to the altar, and I got on my knees. I stood there, and I was praying. I was like, "Lord, if you're real, just reveal yourself to me." And as I was sitting there in silence, 3 of my friends came up. The same 3 friends I came up with, all they did was place their hand on my back, and it was just like I had a snap in reality. I don't know how to explain it, but I just bombarded with a lot of emotions. I was crying, and I was very this is so new to me, but it felt very good because I actually was able to feel something, and it was a truly amazing time, and that was a turning point for me. After that happened, I started to be more interested and apply myself more and to be more involved in chapels. I'm still I'm kind of a reserved and sometimes quiet person, but I was just trying to just listen and just throughout all my years of Elam, I'm a senior now. It's been very good, and the Lord's been showing himself to me. I prayed to be more vulnerable in his presence, to be more vulnerable with people, and just to seek him more. And as I've been doing that, he's been opening my heart and breaking the bondages that was in me from my childhood, and it's been amazing. But if I wanted you just to remember one thing from my quick little testimony, it would just be that the Lord is always with you through everything. He loves you. He cares for you. And even in your darkest moments or times where you feel like you can't feel him, he's always there for you. It's just to continue to have that faith, continue to have that trust in him. And he will guide your steps, and just be vulnerable in his presence to be real with God. Even though he knows everything, you can still be real with him and be open and honest. And also to go to other people and talk to people and just, as Hannah said, just to be faithful in the little things. I didn't know about Elam. I felt the Lord called me. I dropped a 4-rod scholarship for nursing and sports medicine where I could have made a lot of money. Instead, I dropped all that. I just came to Elam just because I heard him say go. So I would just encourage you, just to seek him and just to, as you're with him, just to pray and just to continue to trust in God and have faith. That's all I have. And now Doxson is going to come up.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm Doxson. Yes, thank you, Makai. I am an international student at Elam. I'm from Sri Lanka. If you don't know where it is, it's a very tiny island in South Asia. It's close to India, but yes, it is there, right there. And yes, that's a good question. How did I hear about Elam? Thank you for asking. I have never heard of Elam. Interestingly enough, I'm one of the first, I'm second generation Christians. My parents have never heard of Christ before in their life. And when they were teenagers, they got saved. And that's how I became, I grew up in a Christian family, and my parents have been doing ministry for a long time now. And Ian, when we had a meeting about this whole thing, we were planning and everything, and it was like, hey, who wants to share a testimony? Funny enough, I hated that question my whole life because I grew up as a pastor's kid in the church, and everybody will come up to me and my friends, and all my friends are somehow affected by the gang-related things or drugs and stuff, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I was addicted to this, and I got saved, I'm free from this, and they look at me and they're like, so what's your testimony? And I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to talk about this. I just grew up in a boring Christian family, and I'm just cool, I guess. Like, I don't want to talk about this. And I hated that question. And I came here to Elam, and Elam pretty much opened my eyes to the truth of the goodness of God, having grown up in a Christian family. How many of you here had Christian parents or grown up in a Christian family? That's good. Hey, you're all with me. Good. My parents, my dad was a Hindu, a strong Hindu family. They were the priesthood family of the Hindu temple. My father was supposed to be the next priest of the temple, which is 2 blocks away from our current church, which is awesome. And my father got saved. His testimony is crazy. That's a story for another time, or later you can catch up with me. I'll talk to you about it. But his testimony is insane. He gave his life to Christ. And that's my father's story. And my mom on this side, she was a Roman Catholic family, and she was the first one to get saved. And both my father and my mother got kicked out of the family for accepting Christ because it's a strong cultural setting, and they got kicked out of the house, and the church was opening doors, because during that time there was a civil war going on in our country. It went for overall 30 years. It just ended recently, 2011. It just ended recently. And they got saved in the church, and they went to Bible college and stuff, and that's where they met. And they've been doing ministry for like 30 years now. And I grew up there as a pastor's kid, cool stuff. Yes, I know. I grew up there as a pastor's kid, and I didn't necessarily like talking about this in a sense because, as I mentioned, all the cool stories were nearby me, and I always felt like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I grew up in a Christian family, it's a little awkward to talk about. But then I came to Elam, and I heard all the other stories, all my friends at Elam, and they were talking about how if I would have had heard about Jesus a little early in my life, I would have not experienced this or experienced that, or I would have gone a different path or something like that. And that's when reality came in, and I was like, oh God, thank you so much for my family. if that wasn't the case, I would have not experienced. I don't even know where I would be like today if the influence of my parents were in my life. I don't know where I would have been. So I grew up there, and 2019 was one of the main years, one of the saddest years, but at the same time an impactful year for me in a sense, where I made a strong decision. I grew up as a pastor's kid, yes. I did ministries, did every possible thing, every meeting I was there attending, praying, everything. But I made a strong decision 2019, April 21st. It's the Easter Sunday, and there was a big church in our town, and my father was the president of the Pastors Fellowship down there, so he got invited as a guest speaker, and my dad was taking me with him. He usually does that, just to experience different churches and stuff. So he took me with him, and we were like 2 minutes down the road. We were going to look at the church. We were looking at the church, and there was a huge bomb blast right at the entrance of the church. And it was a terrorist attack, ISIS attack, and 7 different churches, including the church we were like 2 minutes away from. It is God's grace that I'm alive today. If I was 2 minutes early to church, I would have been not here today. But it was an important day because I lost most of my friends that day. They just got off Sunday school, and they were waiting for church to begin, and the bomb went off, and most of my friends passed. And that's one of the main days I made a strong decision towards God, saying, my friends did not know that they're going to pass away that day. They all had dreams. They all had, everything they want to do. They had a wish list or whatever, They had all the cool things, and it was God's timing, and he took them when it was his time. Even though it was tragic, God knew that was going to happen, and I had to make a strong decision. I was going to follow Jesus. Whatever I do today, for everybody here too, everything we do today or everything we're doing, we should always glorify God, because we don't know what God has planned for us. And Elam definitely opened eyes for that, in the training ground, as Hannah mentioned. Everything you do at Elam is a training ground. It teaches you things. It grows you a Bible knowledge, practical knowledge, how to handle with things. There are amazing teachers, professors, all staff, always available to talk to us, to deal with things. Like Mackay mentioned, how he said he didn't have anybody to talk to. At Elam, everybody's like, come talk to us. Like, they will literally come up to you like, please come talk to us. If you want anything, please talk to us. It's the community there that grows us and everything. At the same time, you experience God in different ways. Things you have to deal with, as different things I had to deal with. I was like, oh, I did not know I had to work on that. Oh, thank you. Good. I'll work on that. All right. And that's one of the main things was the testimony, Right now, I'm so proud to share my testimony that I grew up, yes, in a Christian family, and I'm so thankful for God and to Elam too, for opening the eyes towards that. Elam is a good community, pretty much everybody's friends, and then we have Ian. I'm just joking. But yeah, Elam is a good community. Please come talk to us at the end, and always be, don't be discouraged that you don't have a cool testimony or anything, as I was. It's a blessing to grow with parents who are Christians, and always take advantage of that. Thank you.
We're going to end this time today with a little more worship, and so feel free to stand or kneel or whatever position is most comfortable for you. But we're going to have our team members up here at the front, and so this altar is going to be open. And I want to encourage you guys, if one of those testimonies spoke to you, if you feel the Lord tugging on your heart, maybe it's about Elam, maybe it's just about his faithfulness in your own life, or something you need to work on. We'll leave that between you and the Lord. But this is going to be an open space for you to come up and pray and be prayed over, and let's just glorify the Lord and reflect on his faithfulness and how good he has been to us. Amen. I
wonder if you would just stretch out your hands to this team and pray with me for them. Thank you, Lord, for this team, that they came to bless us today and minister to us. But we ask you to bless them, Lord, today and minister to them. Thank you for their lives, Lord, for their dedication to you. We bless them as they head into whatever future you have planned for them, Lord. And they represent, Lord, the future of your church. So we bless them. We ask you to guide them. Put them where you want them to be, Lord. And help them with anything they're facing right now. I know it's challenging to get through all the college classes and pay for everything and all that, so bless them. And we also ask you to bless this school, Lord. It's a unique and special place. It really is an oasis in a desert of the world we live in, Lord, a spiritual oasis. And we ask you to bless it. They were able to make it now for 100 years, but it's one of the only really spirit-filled training facilities there is, and we ask you to keep it strong and keep blessing it so that many more people and future generations can be raised up to spread your kingdom throughout the earth, Lord. Bless everyone here today, Lord, as we head out. Be with us this week. Help us to be faithful in the little things. Help us keep you in our minds, everything we do, knowing you're with us. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for coming out today, guys. The prayer will still be up here if anyone wants prayer. There's no need too small. Please don't feel embarrassed to come and get some support in prayer. Also, feel free to linger in fellowship out in the Welcome Center and hang out and meet the guys at the Elam table and visit the Operation Christmas Child table. Remember, there's a women's potluck and prayer next Sunday after church, so keep that on your radar. That'll be a good time for the women. God bless.